All right, everybody, welcome to the October 3rd, 2018 meeting of the Conservation Commission. If we can stand and salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item's roll call. Member Heather Legere.
Here.
Member Ann Raponi.
Here.
Member Joe Laval. Here. Member Deborah Santiana McCatton.
Present.
And Member Toby Cassidy.
Present.
All right, can I have a motion for the approval of the minutes from September 5th, 2018?
Make that motion.
Toby made the motion. Second? Second by Joe Laval. All right, first item is a public meeting, Mass DEP file 0610708. Eastern Equity Partners Principal Jamie Russo, Certificate of Compliance, 1064 North Shore Road. Order of conditions that was issued on April 5th, 2018. Name and address for the record, sir.
Jamie Russo, 1064 North Shore Road, Revere.
Okay, so we did a site visit on Saturday. There was me, Joe, and Deb was there. We, as far as conservation-wise, everything's done. The driveway's been done. He's got 2 sumps with 4 floats in it, which pretty much, with all the rain we've had the last couple of weeks, there's no rain in the driveway in the parking lot anymore. And I drive by it every day, so it's everything is done according to his order of conditions. So, do I have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. All right, buddy, hang tight 2 minutes and I'll give you your copy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next item is public meeting, Mass DEP file 0610676. Request for certificate of compliance, 47 Standish Road. Paul Finocchio, PJF Associates. How are you, Paul?
Good evening. Paul Finocchio, PJF and Associates. I'm here on behalf of Standish Road Nominee Trust and Carmen Martinetti for a property located at 47 Standish Road. This is the last of the 3 lots to be developed on site. I did submit copies of the as-built plan and the elevation certificate, which the site was constructed in compliance with the approved plans.
Yep. We were actually there for the members that weren't there Saturday. Me and Deb were there. We took a walk down, drive down. Everything is, they get the flow-through vents like we want, gravel driveway, everything is good. So,
2 for 1.
if I can...
The photos were very informative.
Yes, they were.
That's
So-
in the agenda here.
Great.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second.
2 seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If you hang
Thank you.
tight 2 minutes, I'll give you your copy. Next item is public hearing, Mass DEP file 061. I know they haven't assigned a number yet, so we'll get that once we do. Notice of intent, Richard Marchese, 548, 580 Revere Beach Boulevard. Relocate approximately 500 linear feet of sewer line from the middle of the property to tie into the existing sewer line at the rear of the property to allow for future development. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing? Heather makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Ann Raponi seconds. Name and address for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission. For the record, Rick Salvo with Engineering Alliance, 194 Central Street, Saugus, Mass. Here this evening on behalf of Richard Marchese, who is the representative for Joe Lasden's estate and the subject property. Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I've got the green cards here.
Great, please, yes.
So this particular piece of land, I think most of you are probably familiar with the location. It's directly adjacent to the newly constructed beach house, which will be located over here. The dwelling that's shown on the end of the plan was the house where Mr. Lasden lived. The remainder of the property is undeveloped. The resource areas present are obviously everything on Revere Beach is a barrier beach. There's the 100-year floodplain, which is land subject to coastal storm flowage, which is elevation 11, shown in this blue line here. There's a salt marsh in the rear that was delineated by Deborah Anderson, who's a certified wetland scientist, and located by Field Survey, which has a 100-foot buffer zone associated with it. As you're aware, I'm sure from most of the other projects along Revere Beach, the sewer main that extends from Point of Pines up this way bisects many of these properties. So the existing sewer line runs along sort of the back third of this lot. And what's been done on the majority of the projects on the beach that have been redeveloped is that sewer main has been relocated to the rear of the property to make way for the proposed development. The main that's there is an existing 18-inch main. It'll be replaced with a proposed 18-inch PVC SDR 35 main. There'll be a series of manholes placed. There's 1, 2, 3, one in the middle, 4, 5, 6 manholes that will be placed to basically create a 45-degree angle, run parallel to the rear property line, another 45-degree angle where it can reconnect back onto the existing sewer main. That criteria was the criteria that was reviewed with the city engineer. The city engineer still has this project under review. It has not, to my knowledge, been approved yet by the DPW or by the city engineer, but they are aware of the project and are reviewing it. It's the same basic construction technique that's been done on the adjacent properties and other properties on the boulevard. The slope is basically maintained at a 0.003 feet per foot slope, which is minimum required by DEP. So that's the existing slope and the proposed slope. It's slightly greater than 003, and it goes down to 003, which is acceptable, especially given the amount of flow that goes through there. There'll be a cut and cover operation. The existing grades will be maintained. There'll be no change to any of the existing grading that's there. Everything will be placed with loam and seed when it's done. There's no development scheme planned at this point for how this property is going to be developed. It will be developed. Mr. Marchese is working with his architects and his development team to develop an appropriate scheme for the property, but that isn't the subject here. Here we're just proposing to get the sewer relocated so that that activity can happen. Mr. Caruso from Caruso Corp is here this evening. He'll be the general contractor that'll be performing the work that's done a lot of water and sewer work here in the city. Obviously, it'll be protected with double-staked hay bales, silt fence during construction, just to ensure that there's no fines that could make their way towards the salt marsh. So that's essentially the proposal that's currently before you. So I guess at this point, I'll turn it back to the commission for whatever questions or comments that you have.
I just want to make one comment. This is something we're not going to vote on tonight because the city is not all on board yet. The city engineer and DPW still has to approve it. There might be some slight changes as far as what they might want. We don't know what they are yet. If there's no drastic changes, then we'll vote on it next month. We'll just carry it. We're going to carry it over to next month anyways. But do we have any questions from the commissioners? Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A couple of questions. Who is the city engineer that you're dealing with?
Nick Rystrom. Nick Rystrom.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is a fairly new sewer pipe that was all been done over by some of the other projects going all the way down to the Pines?
I'm not sure what the age of this particular piece of the main is. It is 18-inch in this section, so that leads me to believe that it may be someone new because the rest of the pipe is only a 15-inch. I know the piece that was replaced over here was only a 15-inch.
Yeah.
And it's PVC now?
Yes.
Yeah, so it is relatively new. If I'm not mistaken, that was one of the concessions of one of the other projects that they replaced a substantial amount of that sewer line coming from that pumping station. That's coming from the pumping station?
That is coming from the
Right.
pumping station. That's
My
correct.
next question is, again, pardon me, I'm a lay person here, but does the 45-degree angle change anything in the velocity of the flow or anything like that that might affect problems down the line?
Now, given the size of the pipe, the fact that it's an 18-inch pipe, that's why the 45-degree angles were chosen. Mathematically, if you go through the calculations, there is technically a hydraulic loss that occurs anytime you put a liquid through a bend. But by putting the manhole structures there with an invert built into the bottom of the manhole structure and keeping the 45-degree bends, that loss is negligible, and that's why that criteria was set by the DPW. That's why these aren't 90-degree bends.
Are there manholes right at the angle?
Yes, everywhere there's a change in direction, there's a manhole that's installed. That's correct. No problem.
Did I hear you right? The back part of this land was marsh, is still marshland?
No, the marsh is actually off the site. See this green line back here?
Right.
That's the limit of salt marsh. The property line is up here, probably about 30 feet away from it, 30, 40 feet
Okay,
away.
Thank you.
So we're just in the buffer zone.
Any other commissioners? Do I have any other proponents that want to speak? Proponents that want to speak in favor? Hearing and seeing none, do I have any opponents that want to speak? Come on up, please. Name and address for the record.
Sure. Hi, my name's Jason Smith. I'm at 585 Revere Beach Boulevard, and obviously we're here at the conservation part. I'm sure that you guys have checked and you know the plovers are across the street and not in this area. You know, the other animals that are in there, as you saw by the snowy owl that was on the property. It's become a great haven for animals that we haven't seen in a long time. My worry in the process is as we build up everything, where will these animals go? I have 3 small children. They enjoy seeing these animals. I mean, again, like I said, you don't see a snowy owl in your lifetime, and to have one right on that property living there was pretty amazing. The other aspect of things is as they do fixes to the sewer on that area, how is that going to affect my house? How's that going to affect our sewer lines? If we have an older one in the property, is that going to pull water and stuff from us and affect other unintended purposes of it? So I'm not here to rain on anybody's parade. I just want to make sure that the land that we have is preserved for a long time to come. So.
Okay. Changing that sewer line isn't going to affect their property at all, right? It's not going to affect their flow or nothing? Okay. All right, anyone else want to speak? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Alan Graff, 582 Revere Beach Boulevard.
I'm sorry, what was it, Alan?
Alan Graff, Graff. To the engineer, if we're going to put an 18-inch pipe on the other side of 580 Boulevard, what size pipe we have there on the sewer now?
It's 18 inch. It's 18 inch there now. Yep.
Okay, because my concern, depends how high you go, the flow would be unbelievable.
It used to be 15 inches at one point, but they started bringing it up to 18 inches.
They never replaced them.
They did. At one point, it was all replaced to 18
No.
inches.
Back at my house, how did they
All the new development, the beach house and everything, all the new developments come.
I understand,
Yep.
but you're saying it's 18 inch down where I am, correct? Down, going heading north to the pumping station, right? Are you sure about that?
I don't know where you are.
I'm at 582, next to 580 where the last is on the other side of the property there.
Yeah, I would say it's the same size.
You're not sure?
Change of direction. Yeah, I didn't go on your land and check this out.
Well, before you change the sewer, isn't it a good idea to make sure that the pipe size, an 18 inch going into a 15 is not gonna do the job? We're gonna get flooding there.
It's not, we're tying into an 18-inch.
They're tying into another 18 inch.
But he's not sure if it's my or our side down the boulevard, he's not sure if it's a 15 or
Because he's not on your property, but where he's bringing it back and tying into, that goes to the pumping station, is now 18 inches. What comes from your property to there, we're not exactly sure. We can find out to see what size is there.
But the flow is north, correct, to the pumping station, coming off
No, from the pumping station.
Comes from the pumping station.
south.
So it hits,
Oh, okay.
it hits your house first before it hit there, hit your property before it hit theirs. Yep.
Oh, okay, that's.
I understand what you're
You
saying,
understand what
though.
I'm saying?
Yeah, oh,
I
absolutely.
mean, we get flooded. Now,
18 inches to 15 inches doesn't
It's not
work
gonna
when you
do
get a
the
lot of
job.
water. Yep.
And then another thing is, you have no idea where the new construction is gonna be. They're not gonna encroach on where my house is, where the Lasting house is, are they gonna come right up to it? Do you know?
Nothing's been designed yet.
At this point, nothing's been designed, and they can't do that anyways. There's laws and the rules and regulations for build. They can't just come right up to your property line. They have to be.
Well, we're
Has to
RC1,
be so
are we
far back.
RC1 down there or RC2? Because it's residential.
I think it's RC1.
Residential, so you can't come down there, correct?
It'd be a side yard setback.
How-
Yeah.
But not right up to the house.
No, you couldn't.
I think it's either 15 or 20 feet.
Yeah, I think it's 20 feet.
That's nothing. I mean, if you have a driveway there, I mean, that's, 20 feet is nothing.
Yeah. Well, at this point, there's no plan, so we can't, we're talking, at this time, we're talking about nothing because we don't know what's going to happen
Yeah,
yet.
I
So
understand that.
once that comes to fruition and there's plans, then that's when we'll discuss that point
But
of it.
again, going back to the residential one, with the city bylaws, by right, you can't come close to our residential homes. They're all single-family homes.
Correct, and once they propose everything to the city, the engineering department and the site plan review will let them know all that stuff. They can't just build right up to you, and, they have to go by what the bylaws are, what the RC1 restricts them to.
Because I don't know if you people know that on the RC1 where we are, that falls under the Point of Pines Reservation. You guys familiar with that?
Yep.
You are, okay.
Yep.
Goes back to 1907. Before I was born. All right, thanks.
One thing I need to say, I want to say is Engineering Alliance and Rick Salvo is, he does his homework. He knows what he's talking about, and there's going to be plenty more meetings, I'm sure, when they come up with a development for this property. And just make sure you guys are here to voice your concerns, because I'm sure you will be, and I want you to
don't
be.
want a 20-story building next door.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I got a phone call also before this meeting from Councilor Powers that is opposed to anything being issued or voted on tonight until all the city departments are on board and everybody knows what's happening. The engineering department, the community development, the mayor's office, everything, they all know what's happening, so.
So how long is this process usually going to take? A couple of months, 6 months, 8 months, a year?
What's the time frame? What do you mean, work-wise, once they're gonna change it?
Yeah,
Yep.
with the plans and engineering.
Yeah, and I don't think he's talking about the sewer line relocation. I think he's talking about the whole project. So the beauty of the fact that this is within the Conservation Commission jurisdiction, even if they came in with a complete by right project that met all the zoning requirements that maybe perhaps wouldn't require a public hearing process, because we're in the purview of the Conservation Commission, anything that's done on this land is going to require a public hearing, notified process, and I'm sure the owner is going to be reaching out to the community anyways to have some community meetings before he even files anything. So you'll be well informed.
I've always recommended myself, not even just as a chairman of conservation, just in general, any developer should have a community meeting with the neighbors first. Meet on a Saturday morning and talk to everybody.
Right.
It's a little bit more personal, and you get to know what's going. Instead of just hearing things by word of mouth, you hear it right from the developer, what they're gonna do, and voice your concerns. Makes things a little nicer, a little bit more personal.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
While I have gentlemen up here, may I ask another question?
Absolutely, Commissioner.
Going on lines of what that man was asking, what would be the timeline as far as, could you work in the middle of the winter to do this kind of a project, or would you have to wait till the spring?
Well, yeah, the reason why we'd like to get the sewer line relocated now, and we're doing it in advance of the whole project, is that way there, depending on when the project would start, and once it got through the permitting process, and the permitting process for a project that would be built on a 3-acre parcel on the beach, my sense is, gauging from the other project on the beach, would probably be a couple of months long. So that way there, it gives the developer flexibility that if, for instance, if his geotechnical information finds out that it has to be a pile-supported foundation, which likely it will be, given the history of the other projects, he could start that work in the middle of the winter, once the sewer line is out of the way. That's why we want to move it out of the way now.
Oh, again, how long would it take for this particular sewer pipe movement to take?
How long? 2 weeks.
So in other words, if you could get approval within the next month, you could have it done
Before
in
the
short
end
time?
of, our plan would be to have it done before the end of November. It's a pretty simple construction effort. This whole piece would be constructed, and then there'd be a bypass installed, and then the two connection points would be made. So the existing line would stay live while we were building the proposed line behind it, come right up to it, and then we do a quick bypass, two connection points, done.
Thank you.
Any other opponents? Speak again? No, it's all right, Jason.
In regards to that, now, obviously, all of the work is going to be done on that land. Is that going to disrupt and if it's not for these, these auspices, let me know. Is it going to disrupt the traffic flow at any given time? Because, obviously, we run into a lot of issues with that already.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rick.
All this work occurs at the rear of the property, so there'll be
nothing on the
We'll pull into
boulevard.
the site, and
Yeah.
it'll be off the road, and there'll be no disruption of traffic.
Again, too, just like I said, how Rick from Engineering Alliance, pretty good. Caruso Company is just, they're been around the city forever, so they'll do the best they can to make sure nothing's on the street and taking anyone's spots or blocking traffic or anything. Yep. Any other opponents that want to speak on, against this project? All right, so like I said, we're not going to vote. We're just going to continue this till next month, and then we'll see where we stand with the city and go from there.
And hopefully we'll have the DP file number by then as
Yep.
well. So-
Yeah, we should.
Good.
Yep.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you very much. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Steve Caruso, 320 Chatham Street, Caruso Club. If you vote on this, the next meeting is the 3rd? Is that correct?
The next meeting is, I'll tell you right now, it's going to be
First Wednesday in
November 7th. It's going to be.
Will there be an appeal period?
I think it's a 10-day appeal period with DEP. Yeah, 10 working days with DEP. So I'll get it filed that night. I'll give you guys a copy that night. I'll get it filed electronically that night with them, and then there is a 10 business or 2 weeks appeal period.
Well, we know how that has been. Well,
Exactly. I understand.
we know that,
Yeah,
God knows what's
yeah.
coming next.
Exactly, I understand. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. All right, that's it for items on the agenda. There's a couple other things I want to mention. One was, been the talk of the city the last couple of weeks, is the dead clams and the dead whale that washed up on the beach. And I had issued an emergency order a couple of weeks ago to bury the whale. That's what they come up with. We issued an emergency order. But then when I seen that the sail washed up, I said, what are we going to keep on doing, burying everything? So I immediately issued a cease and desist on the emergency order, that nothing is to be buried anymore, as far as clams, whales, sails, nothing. Let's come up with a better game plan, unless they tell me that a buried whale is not going to cause problems 30 years from now. But I did a cease and desist till we come up with a better game plan for that, for anything that washes up on the beach. So just to let the public know and let you guys know what I did. I know I emailed you guys as well. And another thing is, I got a letter from John Festa, from Joseph Festa Construction, for donation of land. Lots 41 Bate Street, lot 42 Bate Street, lot 43 Bate Street, lot 44 Bate Street. I'm writing this letter to officially propose a donation of land from Joseph Festa Construction Incorporated, consisting of 4 lots for conservation purposes. The land is located on Bate Street in Revere, and I respectfully request to be on October's Conservation Committee agenda. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. This is something that's done every year by the Festa family. They donate a portion of the land that they own back to the city for conservation purposes.
Point of personal privilege,
Yes,
Chairman.
Commissioner.
I want to thank, on behalf of the entire committee and the city of Revere, I want to thank the Festa family for being so generous every year, donating this land, whether it be for conservation or whatever. They've always been very generous, and I just want to make sure we let them know we appreciate it. Thank you.
I had 3 kids in school,
Thank you.
great kids, just like the father and the mother.
Thank you. That's it. No more business for tonight. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Ann Raponi, seconded by
I'll second it.
Toby Cassidy. Thank you all.